Okay, so I recently acquired a Roland Handsonic HD-20. It's a hand percussion, it's a multi-zone, multi-pad, rubber pad with about 100 factory kits in it that's intended for like standalone hand percussion. I got this as someone who's both a kit drummer and a hand percussionist, and someone who often has to play in small footprint spaces, as something that might be useful in those applications. I have previously owned Roland V drums, so I'm kind of familiar with Roland. I also already own a wave drum, so I'm kind of familiar with this idea, but the wave drum has really just 3 zones, or really kind of 2.5. This, on the other hand, has really 15 or 16 assignments available. This particular one that I have has the expansion to use a hi-hat controller with my left foot and to use an auxiliary bass drum pad with my right foot. On this exercise, this is going to be a long video, I'm going to go through every single kit on the factory kits, and without modifying them, I'm just going to play through them, monkey around a little bit, give you a taste of what they're like, and comment on what I notice about the sensitivity. There's supposed to be some pressure effects, there's supposed to be sensitivity, velocity effects, and pressure effects, the playability, sensitivity, and reactiveness of the instrument, and what I think about these patches. I will probably be very much glossing through any patches that are largely melodic. I know that it's going to have some, just because for me that's not of great personal interest, because I have a keyboard. If I were in a situation where I needed to play melodies, I would bring a better dedicated melodic instrument. I wouldn't really be looking for a pad like this to play melodies. So with that in mind, let's take a quick tour of the pad itself, and then away we go. Okay, so this is the pad itself, and as you can see, it's got 4 big pads and then 9 additional pads this center, and then 4 small things each side, in addition to having this hi-hat controller and an external pad, which I'm using a bass drum controller. So I'll just be playing whatever comes through standard. I will not be playing with the onboard loop feature, the quick record. I think that'll just take a little too much time to get used to for this kind of quick video. Nor will I be playing with these sort of real-time effects or doing any modifications to the kits, although you are able to go through menus and modify the kits to suit yourself. One thing I will try, because it's fairly easy, is this D-beam, which is it's just a light, infrared sensor. You wave your hand over, and every kit's going to have something that does. These are also supposed to be pressure sensitive, and there are some pressure related effects such as muting strokes. So I'll play around a little bit to see what pressure does, and then I'll just comment out loud as I react to them. Okay, so again, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. I could obviously spend an hour going through all of this. I'm going to skip things that are purely melodic. I'm going to have just a couple quick impressions. I'm going to be looking for what happens when I apply pressure, what happens with altered velocity, what's the patch layout like, and then what's in the goodie bag of this D-beam. So first kit is a Cajon, and this is what we got. Okay, so there's a little bit of counterintuitive stuff with the pressure, that pressure does change the sound, much as actual Cajon technique would in terms of muting the tones, but the application of that pressure is not consistent from pad to pad. So for instance, on this pad here, I if I apply pressure to the pad and strike the pad, I get the muted tone. But if I continue applying pressure here, I also affect all the other wood box patches around the kit. With this one over here, if I hit that and then again apply pressure to the area I intend to strike, I get nothing. But if I apply pressure back here, I will get the muted tone. So that would take a little getting used to, but the sounds themselves are pretty good, and certainly you could play some Cajon type ideas. You know, you might reassign this to a little more of a shaker or something like that, but pretty good. Okay, this one is number 2, Perc Mixture. I'll try to be a little quicker. Okay, so you would definitely need to like learn what the layout was. I also don't like that volume-wise, the auxiliary pad seems to be like need a little remixing. Another thing I probably have to hit the menu for. This one's called Filtered. Let's see what this is about. Okay, so, you know, it's kind of electronica. You'd have to kind of get used to things. I might actually prefer to have a few less like stabs and more, you know, metallic, you know, percussion type sounds. Okay, this one's just called Drums, number 4. So that assignment's right at home. This is the kick. Here's the snare, hats. I don't like that. I usually have V drums, and I'm expecting that if I engage the hi-hat controller and press the hat patch, that it will know that what I want is a closed hat sound. This seems to be more dependent on velocity, and this would be hard. Like, I would rather just like forget it, make that just be a closed hat sound. I really would be annoyed at constantly having an open hat. Okay, so sort of randomly I've got a tom and a cross stick, and then mostly cymbals. So that's pretty intuitive except for that extra tom, which I've already forgotten what it is. Okay, so I could get used to that. 20 Funky, number 5. I would reassign that stuff, but otherwise, it's kind of cool. Asian melody, I'm probably not going to like this one, just because I'm not looking for melodic. Okay, this one is number 7, Twin Djembe. I play a lot of djembe, so this one's definitely one I want to put through the paces. I probably would reassign that the right foot, rather than having that shaker, I would want the consistency of, oh, okay, my right foot is typically a bass tone of some sort, so that I'm not changing technique for each one of these. Okay, so I would probably tweak this a little bit, but it's a good starting point. One of the things I would change is this. So this has a little bit of a counterintuitive behavior with pressure, which I might look out for happening later, such as, so with this pad, for instance, if I press and strike the pad, I'll get the muted tone that I intuit I would get. But with this pad, I get nothing if I do that. But if I press any adjacent pad, I will get the muted tone version of that. So I like that all of these have some sort of muted tone associated with them, almost all of them. That's great, that gives me extra voices to work with. So promising. Okay, this is a Conga. I don't like that I'm having 4 pads that start with the same voice, but I would have expected this to be that, to be in the goodie bag instead, just since that's so close to doing that little whale noise. Okay, so although these have the same, they have, it looks like they have different mute tones. Sort of. So I might look for that to be a little different, but okay. And then, so pretty helpful, you know, equivalent of the bass and hi-hat. This is voice drums. Okay, so you can certainly do something with that. Again, I'm sensing that there's a pattern with the way that pressure works on these upper 2 pads is that you apply pressure below to achieve an alternate patch there. Okay, we got the 808 909. Okay, so I mean it's got a lot of what I would want out of an 808 type patch. This is Darabuka 11. Okay, so there's stuff you could do there. One thing I did notice is that if I try to do finger technique, like finger rolls, like I would on, say, you know, a smaller Middle Eastern drum, this is not particularly sensitive to small pressures. So it's definitely hit or miss on that. This is called Ambient Tribe. Okay, this is Bongo 13. It's a nice sample. I would probably again change. Just have one clave. I mean, it's all bongo there, so. Some of them respond to pressure, some do not. So I am applying pressure and I'm getting. Man, that's something I would probably assign there, rather, you know, if I'm gonna put a cowbell. All right, it's called FatStep, number 14. So another thing that I wish were a little bit different is that similar ideas were typically mapped. So like I wanted, oh, okay, this used to be the cross stick, I'll bet it's the hand clap, and it's not, it's that. So, and it doesn't have hand clap. So I would probably map these different to be more consistent with each other. Laserwave, I have a feeling we're probably not going to do much with this, but we'll see. Yeah, okay. Well, one interesting thing about that is that kind of like a theremin, you could actually like play that. It's a very long tone that is hard to control. So minimal contact to maximum pressure. So you could use that as a theremin, basically. Frame drum and Pandeiro. It's not what I was expecting the sound of a frame drum to be. Guess I was kind of thinking like a bodhran. Where is that? That's fun. LightMini melodic tom. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So pressure is really affecting pitch here, but it's kind of like a mini kit. So it's mapped like the other drum set mostly. But yeah, your velocity really has a radical effect on pitch there, which you can get used to. Okay, timbales and cowbells. Kind of have to get used to how it's mapped, but I guess it's, you know, my left and my right timbale. So by pressure, implying pressure here, I'm affecting the pitch there. NeoSoul. So far it's mapped like the other drum sets. Again, some consistency with where are my cymbals, where are my cross sticks, where are my hand claps, if that's what I have. It's pretty consistent, but I would probably change it a little bit. This is called E-SCAPE, Hybrid New Age. Okay, I feel like there's nothing on the hi-hat controller. I guess there's a very faint, like, gourd type shaker. Waterphone bowed. I mean, it's cool, but I mean, I would rather have a keyboard to play that kind of instrument. So I'm going to be avoiding most of the melodic ones. This is Steel Pan Band. Orchestral. Situational, for sure. This is called CrushLowe, drums and loops. We'll see how this goes. Okay, it's a Pandeiro. Okay, could make use of that pot drum. Situational, but okay, tabla is one that's pretty important to me, so let me see where this is at. Okay, this one's called Tabla Jam, so you know, it seems like it's a drum set and some tabla sounds, so not ideal for me. Okay, this so like this is the tabla. Right foot, this and this. And then over here we got. And so again, like there's this cross stick where the hi-hat previously had been. So I don't like the mapping on that. I would definitely change it. I'm not sure, you know, maybe there's some need for me to have, or maybe it's useful to have like a stripped down kind of jazz kit plus a couple tabla, but I would remap that. A lot of similarity on this outer rim, but otherwise, you know, there's some stuff there. It is hard to like really make the to get the timing on these D beams just right. It can sound super awkward all of a sudden. This is called Deep Forest. Urban Mood with hi-hat control. Okay, so like this is all reversed from how the others are mapped. The other drum set patches. Okay, this is Cajon recording. Okay, so all Cajon sounds. And then just only the one kind of alternate. So that's, let's see. I'm just going to call it that these ones never allow you to apply pressure and velocity at the same time on these two upper pads, that they get their pressure trigger from below. Okay, so that's a decent little Cajon there. Conga with Quinta and Tumba rather. Timbalitos, cowbell and block. Certainly useful. Repanike. So we'll see what, I'm not actually sure what that is, so. Okay, so some kind of samba kind of. So what I've got on my hi-hat controller, I really wish I had over here instead. But useful. Okay, folklore, South America. I would probably get rid of that. I don't need that. Latin kit, Conga and Bongo. So that could be useful to have both Congas and Bongo. Let's see. Okay, so that's intuitively what I would think, is that I've got two Congas down here, I've got two Bongos up here. Let's see if, yeah. And a bass tone on the Conga. Good. Clave, I like that. I wish I had my bass tone on the Conga over here on my foot, but triangle, okay. Okay, so. This one's pretty useful. Just Djembe, let's see what we got. Kind of useless, or not intuitive stuff on the feet, not useless, but. Okay, so very similar to that other Djembe patch. I'd have to see what's different about the map on them. African song. tabla. Okay, so this one says traditional method. Let's see what that means. So I really love the wave drums tabla a lot, and this is not as inviting, but could suffice. I could get used to it. I'd probably remap it just a little bit. Drums of India, Bongo. With a patch called Drums of India, I would actually kind of expect that I'd be getting like a tabla as the sort of featured instrument, and then some other things that let me get creative with it. So I might actually want to customize and do that. It's called Asian Percussion 1. Asian Percussion 2. 3. China. So I would get rid of that whole outer ring, but I do kind of like this. I mean, it's begging for, it's begging for a gong, and there it is. It's begging for some cymbals. It's begging for more metal. Okay, Samul Nori Korean drums. So I'd have to learn these, not just to like hit everything, but a lot of similarity there, but something. Okay, Island Dance, Pan Pacific. Okay, the drone is kind of interesting. The drone will take whatever pressure effect you're trying to apply to other things, which is kind of an all or nothing that I don't like. Okay, this is a drum line. It's crying out for a few extra things, but it's a little more variety. Okay, this is ballad percussion, long reverb. So this is 49, which is metallic percussion. So that's pretty cool. Limited application, but pretty well rounded and intuitive to follow. This one is just 50, it's just called Shakers. So let's just hit what we got. Okay, not a lot of pressure effects, but it's a collection of shakers. I suppose you could do something with that, especially if you're just trying to, do like an auxiliary overdub or something. Okay, so similarly, then we got cowbells. So we got. I don't know if it's just me, but like the most useful ones are on the rim, and I'd really, if this is just an assortment of cowbells, I mean, I'd really like to have. This is the hardest area to hit, and these are the easiest. Let's see if we got any pressure effects. Okay, so it does affect the sustain. Okay, steel pan. And it indicates the D beam is a pitch bend, so let's see what we got there. You have to get used to that control, but that is what it does. Okay, so that's a melodic one. Some application. Marimba, probably also strictly melodic. Lithophone 1. Lithophone 2. Hand pan with tone plate. Balafone with Gilly. So I'm not familiar with that instrument. Kind of, I guess, sounds a little bit to me like a gamelan type instrument, but I don't know. Tuned gongs, and it says D beam is mute. Bells with percussion. Okay, this one is Siesta, Cajon and Marimba. Okay, so we've arrived at patch 67, which is drum booth. So again, I'm going to see if one of the things I'm noticing as a pattern is that sometimes the mapping of the patches is geometrically inconsistent. So first I'm going to check and see, do I have a bass drum, do I have a hi-hat? Is my hi-hat here? Is this the cross stick? Is this a snare? Is this the bass drum? Toms? Is it consistent with the pattern that was established early on, or is it different? So bass and hi-hat, yes. Bass drum, snare where I expect. Toms, and I'm expecting this to be hi-hat. Yes. Has that same kind of maddening thing. I would definitely go in and tweak that. Just if I can't control the open hat with the foot controller, then I just want it to be a closed hat. Okay, so that's like a rim shot, cross stick. Okay, so one thing that's slightly inconsistent, this isn't the worst, is that we had the ride cymbal has typically been in this S8 position, and in this case it's like an 18-inch floor, a lower floor tom or something, and the ride cymbal moves up. So you do have to like memorize those little shifts, whereas I would want to say, hey, some of the like consistent elements of the drum kit are always in these places, and then I have a a goodie bag, with, I don't know how useful that is. I would definitely replace that with something else, but like if this is the kit that is a cowbell, I'd want it to be like, it's going to be here. This is the goodie bag. Is this one and this one are shift around. So let's see. I do like this ride cymbal more so than the others. Maybe I'm just getting the hang of it. I'm able to shift between with velocity to the bell or to the just the riding surface patch more readily. So I do like that. And maybe that's a function of, this is a used one, so maybe this pad is a little less sensitive after that much use, and now assigning that patch here is more fruitful, but we'll see. So I mean that's a pretty good drum kit. Just because I'm stinking up the joint doesn't mean that it's not good. Okay, so this is Jazz Club. Maybe we've entered some drum kits here. So again, let's check and see if the mapping is consistent. Okay, so that mapping is not consistent right off the bat. This, which has been the bass drum. I mean, it's great that I've got this other thing, but this does not come with foot pedals, and so I would expect that my bass drum patch is always where, if I were strictly using this with hands, I would want it to be there. I do have a bass drum here. I have a hi-hat here. My hi-hat, rather than being here in the middle, is here now. Snare is where it is in a consistent place. The bass drum has just moved here for some reason. So, I mean, to me that's kind of like sloppy. It should just make one decision and stick with it. Got toms. Ride cymbal is now back to here. Rim shot and a cross stick. An array of cymbals. The cymbals keep changing, whether I've got a splash, whether I don't, whether the splash is furthest to the left. Again, there's a little bit of logic missing to these. If you're going to like quickly orient yourself blindfolded to this kit, it's kind of like, I'd like it to be like my cymbals are from low to high, but so it kind of ends up being me just striking randomly, but let's see what we got. So I can get used to that. just like and I found this with the Roland V drums when I had those too, that you can kind of like you can do some jazz ideas, but then ultimately the sensitivity of the snare starts to sound very awkward, kind of forced, because like you try to do a roll that swells and it really is just like, I think this is a single sample that's just being played louder. It doesn't have like a layered sample where it naturally sounds quiet to loud. I mean, that was better, but okay, well, it's pretty good jazz. Okay, brushes. So let's see, brushes are very important to me as a kit drummer. So let me see if this out of the box has got different brush strokes that I could go between, either using pressure or otherwise. So I got a bass drum, hi-hat's back to here, bass drum's back to here. So that's a brush strike. Do I have, okay, well that's where I would expect to have at least a swish, something somewhere. Do I have anything else? That's nice. With pressure, I can turn that from a short stroke to a long stroke. So I'd have to practice with it, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Cross stick. Okay, so I got tricked by, I have an extra tom for some reason. I would want to make this a 4-piece kit. I'd want to just have a low, a high and a low, and give me, just the ride cymbal, and maybe, I mean, I don't know if it has, it'd be great to be able to flip around and either do a scrape or a tap. So if this has got that, I'm a little, at this point I'm not sure what that's doing for me. So this one would take getting used to, but even if I just like had to step up and try to do it, I'd figure something out. Okay, this one is deep jazz. So let's see. Okay, so it's like some brush stroke toms, cowbell, cross stick. Yeah, I'd have to get used to that. I would probably, I mean, why do I just want a couple brushes for toms? I'd rather have some other thing. I'd rather be able to be saying I'm playing with sticks and just do that. If I was going to have any brush stroke, as a sort of extra goodie bag, it would definitely be some kind of snare. So we got pop drum 71. So I totally interesting, very different map. Definitely, you know, kind of cool to get inspired with. This one does not. I mean, it's great that I've got the pedals. I mean, I guess this is the. I guess if you only had what I was using as a snare, assuming would be the snare, is actually the kick. Snare is moved here, which that makes it very hard to like do anything articulate on the snare. I like the hi-hats there. But then I've got this other hi-hat here. Okay, so I like the snap, but I'd rather put the snap here. Okay, we got Garage Rock, number 72. Back to having the snare there, and a kick there, hats. So, with just a hint of extra pressure, these cymbals are getting an automatic bass drum with them, which Alright, so that's a serviceable kit. This is called Wide Open Concert Hall. So yeah, the mapping changes again, but different kit. I'm gonna try splashing it. Okay, so yeah, the hi-hat controller will do a splash, foot splash, which feature I'm used to with Roland stuff with V drums. So yeah, I'd have to get used to some of these changes, but okay, double bass with hi-hat control, I don't know. Okay, so I guess I've got two, I do have two kick drums here. I mean, that's only of limited value because this hi-hat controller is not very quick. Yeah, well, I mean, that has more to do with these controllers, but. Timbalitos+D's, reggae style. Okay, so some drums and timbales, I guess. We got the cross stick in the middle. Snares moved up here. Timbales here. definitely, it makes for a small target here for some important elements. I don't like the mapping, but I like the idea. It's called Echonic Ring Modulator. Okay, so limited, you know, kind of niche. We got percussive dance beat. So I definitely find, I'll also mention, I can immediately kind of settle in and explore if the mapping is consistent. When the mapping is brand new, then I stumble. So like with that reggae one, I was so distracted by trying to figure out where things were. I didn't didn't let those sounds breathe at all. And I think you can probably catch that there's some differences there. So let me try this again. This one is so far intuitive. Okay, so, and I like that this is, you know, not something I need to hit a lot because it's so far away, but is kind of a special thing to reach for. Rolling a go-go. Kind of limited. Deep space. Definitely fun to play around with that atmosphere, but probably pretty limited situational thing. Trap it. That was pretty great. As far as being like, again, intuitive to the mapping pattern we've established, and then like immediately kind of getting the personality of this kit with just a couple, you know, within just a second of hitting it, like getting the sense of, oh, that's kind of the idea that this is going to go, you know, that's the core of this thing. That's its personality. That's its heart. So that's a really good one. Trap It, number 80. I think we're getting near the end of the end of this exercise. 4 on the floor. So again, I'm really liking this personality right off the bat. that's fun, situational. Again, strong personality, and I've noticed that's another thing that separates some of these from each other is that it's like you hit it and it's inspiring, it's intuitive, it really comes through. You get an immediate sense for what that patch is all about. And others are kind of confusing, or ones where you'd have to like learn it, explore it, you know, come to know it before you really could do more with it. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but for me, it's better with these kinds of instruments with a million, you know, it's got 90 kits on it. I mean, how much time do I really want to spend learning just what sounds it can make? I want the thing to like immediately give me a sense of personality. That's true of also, you know, I find that true of keyboards as well. You know, I want, okay, this piano has a certain flair to it, or, you know, this weird synthesizer has this personality, and you kind of start to react to it, and you get a sense for it, but it's consistent across the keyboard. Similarly, I'd like to see it here. So this one is Instant DNB. Okay, so that's fun. It definitely, again, personality comes through right away. This is 83 analog. Okay, so you know that one again, kind of intuitive. Okay, I see what this is, what this quadrant's all about. I see what's going on here, and then I would have to tweak this. The one problem I immediately identified is some of these, the relative volume of the second of the auxiliary trigger. So what for me is this bass drum, when compared to the bass drum that somewhere on the pad, is really disparate, and that rendered this like practically useless to use my foot, because there's that and there's that. Okay, this is 84 Electro. Okay, so now already the bass drum patch is totally different. of interesting. There was something weird going on I couldn't understand about this pad being affected by other things. This combination, so a kit that is already flipped around. So the hi-hat control here is creating a pitch lift as part of the trigger. So yeah, it's 86 solid beat. Okay, that's I mean, that definitely has a character to it. Space Trap. Okay, so this one has got some bleed between the velocity of snare and bass between these pads. So striking lightly, I'm doing a snare. That actually ended up being kind of intuitive to pick up, but it was different from any other pad that any other kit that we've played so far. This is Experimental Electronica 88. Yeah, so that's got a lot of fun stuff going on. There's definitely some stuff that you kind of wind it up and let it go, and then just sort of react to it without necessarily realizing it's going to happen. 89 wah stepping. melodic element was fun for a second, but wouldn't be very useful for lots of things. This is called Crush Beat number 90. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but let's see. Limited application, but kind of fun. This is called 91 Filth and Verb. Okay, beepy beats, here we go. So I really love everything that's not beepy. That's a really great character. It's really responsive. Can really feel like doing more. I would love to have some other things that are just a little more outside, strictly percussive, outside our percussion kind of things. You know, metallic sounds, clicks, whistles over here. That would be fun. The melodic element takes up so much space and really makes this a very limited but still fun kit. So I will tweak that if I would tweak that. Mute kicker. voodoo going on where if you press simultaneously this snare with one of the tones, in my case the bass drum, it becomes kind of a pitch bender. It's got so much, it's such a unique character, it probably can only be used once. Not really broadly applicable, but kind of fun. All right, this one's called Bassline 94. It says the D beam is mute. Okay, it looks like the hi-hat control is also mute. Okay, so again, ones that are highly tonal are not as useful to me. 95, junk here. I'm a little disappointed with that one. I actually would be pretty excited to have something that was more like, you know, just found objects, truly inspired, you know, that picturing, you know, just running through a junkyard, hitting stuff that's there. A lot of metal, a lot of unusual reactions. This is very affected, very processed, and not what I would, and taken by itself, so processed that it was a little bordering on low utility. Okay, this one's called Sound Effects 1. You could see playing around with that. Sound Effects 2, digital, it says. Very similar. I think just a couple things different. 98, drama. It says drama, horror, comedy. I'd like it to have just one character to it. So I'd like to think that, okay, I let this thing loose, and now everything else is going to be in that same kind of mood. So whatever I hit is, you know, somehow going to fit there. But there's too many, like, I'd have to memorize what's what, and then I've got like 3 ideas in one place, and it's kind of limited to begin with. This is Noel, Happy Holidays. Okay, so that pretty much says what it is. Mistronic. Limited, but atmospheric. Okay, and then that's it. We're into the user kits. So, some final thoughts in just a second. Okay, so I hope that was useful. I know it's very long, but hopefully I kept the pace up enough that it was good to hear all of those. So some final thoughts. It's a little unfair. It's a kind of artificial exercise to run through all of those and expect them to be like immediately intuitive. Like I could sit down and just play the thing, and I could just take this gig without any preparation. Of course, you'd want to have some preparation. That said, here are the things that I would end up having to tweak, and it's a little annoying to me that they didn't think of this in advance. First, I would want every drum set to have the same, to have a consistent mapping of the fundamental patches, that the bass drum is always lower right, the snare drum is always lower left, the ride cymbal is always the last one in the arc, the hi-hat is always in the middle, and then the top two are always toms, and then you've got some cymbals up top, and then there's some open slots that will be different from kit to kit. That's fine. But the fact that familiar, same voices were flip-flopped or moved around, that was kind of annoying, and that's something I would have to fix before taking this out on the road. Similarly, the hi-hat, the notion that the open hi-hat would be so dominant is annoying. I would have to figure out how to parameterize that so that the closed hi-hat is the thing that if I'm striking that hi-hat pad, that's what I get with ease, and that I get the open hi-hat only with some effort. Or that the hi-hat controller absolutely consistently controls it if it's in place. Some of the patches, I mentioned this a couple times, that some of the kits rather have really strong personalities, and that can be a really good thing because it makes it easy to just start playing music, start making music, get a sense of, oh, that's what this thing is all about, that's how these sounds kind of interact. I'm hearing it and I'm just reacting to it, as opposed to some of the others where it's like it's a grab bag of stuff, and it's hard to remember what the sounds are, or if you happen to hit, I guess with these strong personality ones, if I make a mistake and hit at random something that wasn't exactly what I thought, it kind of doesn't matter because everything goes well together. With these other ones, it's kind of like, I can't believe I hit that beepy noise when I'm actually trying to avoid hitting that one. I think that the sensitivity is something that needs to get dialed in a little bit for some of the hand percussion stuff. I also think that, as I mentioned, it's a personal bias, but the melodic ones are kind of it's kind of like half measures. It takes away a lot of what the drum could be, and it doesn't give you enough to really have a true melodic instrument for most of them. There are a couple things where you're talking about a pentatonic style instrument where 5 voices is really enough, but again, I would just use a keyboard. If I myself, if I were needing to play melodies, would use a dedicated melodic instrument rather than expecting this kit to do it for me. In a nutshell, that's it. I think I'll probably try to take advantage of one of the sort of killer applications of this is that supposedly, where the relative ease, you can add your own samples. So I would love to sample my kit, sample my djembe, sample my cajon, and bring them with me in a single instrument for small footprint application. I'll check back with you and see if it's actually as simple as that, and if so, kind of give you a taste of what that ends up being like. Also, I'll probably do another follow-up video where I compare this to the wave drum, to a djembe, to a cajon, trying to address the question of, if you're in a small footprint kind of singer-songwriter gig, we're going to need to play sort of drum set-esque ideas, which does that job best? Or at least give you a sense of, the differences between them, and kind of take them from there. All right. Thanks for watching, and see you later.